back with another very special guest for you today. You know, I love wellness, and part of wellness being holistic is that part that sometimes we don't like to talk about, but we need to talk about, which is the money. So that is why we have our lovely expert, Miss Brenda, here today. Let me just give you a little rundown so you know who we're talking with. Senior business analyst specializing in electronic payments by day. She's got that big job, that big title for a reason. We're glad to have her here with us for sure. And then, in addition to her 9 to 5, she's got that 5 to 9 rolling too. She is an investing coach, an entrepreneur with, I know this part's not going to sound right, 25 years investing experience. Doesn't sound right because look at you, girl. Okay. Like, what did you start when you were one? Come on, let's get it. But yes, when I read that, I was like, 25 years investing experience. How? You look good. We like it. But 25 years of investing experience in the stock market. And on top of that, she is a published author. So, love that. She published the book Max It Out, where she shares her investing journey. Oh, okay. Come through with the book. Love that. I'm a big reader. So, I did not know that until you sent it to me. I was like, oh, yeah, put it on the list. I need to know the things. I've worked in banking a long time, I've invested a long time, but I feel like even just a couple of your videos, you make it so simple that it doesn't have to be complicated. I'm like, "Ooh, I like that energy. I like that thought process." So, yeah, I will be ordering your book too.
Thank
But
you. I
definitely
appreciate it.
thank you so much for coming here to talk to us. Give us some of the juice of what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Sammy. I appreciate you. First of all, it's nice meeting you finally, like in person, because we chat online, but this is our first time actually having a one on one like this. Hi, Christy. Hi.
Oh,
She's
hi, ladies. Brianna, Christy, they're here for it.
so yes, I am 44 years old, and I'm gonna have my 45th birthday March 1st coming up. And yes, I have 25 years experience investing. So a little bit about me. I come from Honduras, which is a third, it's categorized as a third world country, where we come from nothing. I didn't speak English at all. So I've had many challenges, not only financial, living in that hood PTSD that we were talking about the
Yes.
other day. So I
Yes.
had many challenges in my life, and I have overcome many of them. So definitely investing is one of them. But one of the things that I always tell, and I think you see my videos, the first thing when it comes to investing is your mindset. Mindset is
Absolutely.
first. And I think you can apply it to almost anything. But for me, it was very easy to start investing because I already knew what poverty was. You see what I mean? It's like when
That's
you
the
know,
norm.
right, when you already know what poverty is, and we're like, wait a minute, is this all? Can there be more? And I would see other people living abundant life. They had a house, they had a pool, and I'm here living in a basement that gets flooded with water, and we have to pail it. You know what I mean? Like, I've been through the ringer. But those are the things. As I was growing up, my mindset always said, I can do better. I can be better. And then I would always look at my mother and my stepdad at the time and say, why? How come they don't have it? Well, they have it. So those things, like those limiting beliefs, maybe it's just meant for the rich, right? And I think that's one of the what is investing video that I just created is not only for the rich. So I always maintain that mindset since a little girl, that I wanted more. I wanted to be like the girl in Look Who's Talking, the movie. I'm a little older, you probably never watched that, but they're in New York City with their suits on, and they're Wall Street type ladies, and I said, I want to be like her. I was drawn to that. And fast forwarded, when I was in the military, I was 20 years old. So that was in 2000. I joined the military. I was an aircraft mechanic.
Wow.
Yes, yes. So there's a lot of femininity that I've been working on, right? Because I've been always in that male road, the finances, et cetera, et cetera. But I had a supervisor that said to me, "Hey, listen, we were all sitting around, and he said, listen, you should consider, not only me, it was a couple of us, a Roth IRA." So of course, like I have no idea. Like my English is not the greatest, right? I'm a Latina who no one talks about investing in my family. So I was like, investing, Roth IRA, what is that? So he said it was just for retirement and you can pull the money out. That was all I heard was tax free by 59 and a half. I said, okay, I need to know more about this. But see, there was, we didn't have Google, we didn't have the internet. So the age of information is here. Back then, we had no information. So guess what? I had to call a bank. I'm like, hey, listen, can I open a Roth IRA? They're like, yeah. Well, of course, there's the money thing, right? There's the money gap where I was making $11,000 a year in the military. But in my book, I'm gonna tell you right now, I took a screenshot of my Social Security. So if you go to myssa.gov, you can get like your entire list of like every year of all of the, what you made for that year. So I put it in here. You can see it that I was making 11,000 a year. With 11, that's why I tell people don't make excuses. If you're making excuses because you have fear, a different type of fear. But when it comes to money, I started with 25. So I asked the banker, I said, hey, listen, can I do 25 a month? I don't make a lot of money. She was like, yeah, absolutely. Now, the thing here is that I don't know where she put my money because I didn't have the education at the time. So I just went with whatever my financial advisor put me on. And as that grew, I just started I started loving seeing the money grow. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm liking this stuff, right? Like 35,000, 20, you know what I mean? So I thought I was rich back then. I was like, 35K is a lot. I was like, for a 21 year old, almost 26-year old, like I thought it was a lot of money. But as I started getting more sophisticated, I wanted to learn a lot more. And that's one thing about me, is just this is why I do the investing part, the investing coaching, because I wish I had me, right? I wish I had me then. Because I would ask friends, I would ask some other people, and they would just either brush me off. HR didn't even know what the heck they were doing. They would hand me a sheet and they're like, here, uh, pick your investment. I'm like, okay, well, how do I do this? Nothing. Like it was just blindlessly, right? Just checking boxes. So one of the things that I tell beginner investors, or if you're just afraid, maybe you dabble a little bit, education is key. Because listen, nothing against financial advisors, but I had some financial advisors who sold me stuff that
Yeah, they
when
wanted their cut.
right.
Yeah, they
I'm
sold you
like,
what was best for their cut.
right. So
Yes.
I had, even though I didn't have like a specific mentor like me back then. I did have some mentors, right? So I reached out. So the first one was my supervisor who told me about it, right? So that kind of, okay, I'm gonna do it. Then I had one more person who said, you know what, a girlfriend of mine, she would invest, and I said, like, what are some books? What can I read? So I started reading more books. One of them is A Simple Path to Wealth, and then again, I have mine here, which I put everything, and everything. I do 20 lessons in here, and I go from how I started building my savings, and it all started living paycheck to paycheck, right? So once, like, your brain is going to understand it, right? The more you read about it, the more you get coached on it, you're going to understand investing, and you're going to be like, oh my God, it's not that hard. It's the simplest thing that, I don't know. I mean, I was coaching a client yesterday. She was like, "Oh my God, that's it." I was like, "Yes, that's it. That's all you need to do." I mean, you know what I mean. But the thing is, investing is personalized, right? So it depends on what you want. Sorry, I have my dog here. For anyone that's listening to the noises, I have my dog here. It's personalized. So, but there is a strategy that's very simple, and that's the one I teach. So, making a long story short, once I understood investing, I had one gentleman who I reached out to again, like I had, my little mentors. What do you want, puppy? um, he looked at my list of things and he said, "Why do you have this?" I said, "Well, the advisor gave it to me. He told me that, not to put all my eggs in one basket." He was like, "No, you don't need that. That's if you're like retired, right?" So I was able to re-strategize. And again, that's one of the chapters in the book is re-strategizing. And now I've built my portfolio almost to over 600,000.
Wow.
And you know what? And to me, I was like, that's not a lot of money, right? Because I want to be a millionaire. So I am a net worth millionaire, but I teach women that I started, honestly, I really started to max it out. Like I call my book Max It Out, was when I turned about 30, 31 or 32. That's when I really, really started the game of maxing out. Because that's the key. For me, it was the key, maxing it out. That's how I was able to just get that all the way to almost 600,000.
Yes, there no. Already there's so much value there, and I can tell that that is such a passion point for you
It
with the
is.
book and just making everything simple because you're dead on that the information was not readily available. My first bank job, they handed me a packet of paperwork. I'm
Right.
like, "Okay, well, what is this? Like, what do
What
I
did they
do with
explain
this?"
it to
Like,
you,
I'm
right?
19. I don't know what you're talking about. And even in the finance industry, there were a few people that knew a little bit, but I swear to get any good information, you had to like dig for it. There were a few books, there were a few people, but you really did have to source it yourself. And now, with the internet, especially, all the information is there and available no matter what background, no matter what thoughts you have in your head initially you can get the info and it was not like that then. So kudos to you for being able
Thank
to put
you.
those pieces together along the way and bring a resource for those who are kind of at that starting point. I love what you said too about growing up like you knew, okay, there's better out there. Why not me? Like why can I not be the one doing those? I'm going to be the one doing those. So that attitude already puts you in such a good position. I have 4 kids and 2 bonus kids and even just the small conversations that we will have around investing, I feel like my 8-year-old is in a better position to invest than I was at like 18 because
Right.
even I remember I will never forget this moment. We were at Walmart getting some little like just stuff for a plane. We are about to go to Disney. And the lady asked, like, "Oh, are you guys going to the beach?" And she was like 5. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to Disney. I have stock in Disney." And she was just like so confident. The lady looked at her like, "What is this little girl talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, that's maybe like one of my proudest mom moments. Like, I
Yeah.
gave her what I did not get." And so it
Mhm.
is amazing. That's probably why you're lit up because you get to feel that through your coaching and your book of
Yeah.
giving people that resource that you did not have. Just like you said, giving them what I needed, you did that. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that is why your passion is where it is because
I,
you get that
I love it.
feeling.
I love it. The thing is, I cried. I have cried many times. I'm invulnerable here because I know how it is. I went to a seminar. Okay, I paid $2,500. I'm an open book. That's another thing, right? I went for my one-on-one clients. I show them my account, everything. Of course, I redact my account because I want you to know that how I invest, because that way I'm not telling you to invest like me, but I'm just gonna teach you, right? That hey, this is basically like there's a pattern in everything. There's a pattern, and I learned the pattern, right? It's so simple, but this is how I invest, right? And that's it. That's all you need to do. So I show that so that I can, make sure that they have the trust. Because I've been there. I've cried many times where I felt lost. I just thought I knew investing, but then I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like I thought I knew it because HR hands me a paper and I'm like, okay, I'm investing. But do you really know what you're really doing? What your money's doing? How much fee? How many fees? Like there's fees associated, right? Financial advisors, and again, I don't want to, like I know people have got to eat, so this is their
Yeah.
job, right? But I'm the type of person that if I can save some money, right? I'm gonna give you a prime example. If you have $1 million in your bank account and 1% is that, how much is 1%? I think it was like 10,000 a year. Someone can correct me. And you can save, literally not pay that 1% and pay so much less depending on which funds you pick, you could be paying, I would say, like 0.012. So typically I recommend to pick low fees, right? The funds that are low fee, usually like less than 0.3%. Okay. So those are the things. Again, my book has it. I do screenshots in here. Let me see if I find it, on how to look at funds. Uh, so if you're a do-it-yourself, I definitely, it's everything's in a book. So again, it's an Amazon, and you can see I put a screenshot of a fund, and then I also give you homework in there and how to like look at funds, and look at the prospectus. And I am a advocate of a three bucket fund portfolio, and I also give you examples of international, U.S. international and bonds. So those are the things that I teach, is having a three bucket approach. You don't need like single stocks, like all apples and all Walmart. You don't need all that. You could just, I'm an index fund lover. Just want to let you know.
I do agree with that because the time spent in researching individual items is crazy. And I guess if you have the time, pay the time tax. But if you don't,
Yeah.
there are shortcuts. And I even think this, like, honestly, my brain just goes to shortcut with this because there are so many different routes someone could go. I think
Yeah.
for the youth, that's an underserved area too because it's
Yes.
not something they're talking about in school. But think about how many, 12 or 13-year-olds are TikTok stars that now go from their $10 allowance to $10 million a month.
Mm,
For those people, that education level is not there, and they can't probably go ask mom and dad, like, hey guys, because mom and dad might not know
nope.
either. So instead of going and spending, like you're saying, a cut, those people are charging you to manage that money for you. And they're not
Right.
just charging you once, they're
Right.
charging you over and over
Oh
again.
yes. Oh
So
yes.
it's crazy. It makes perfect sense to save the money not just once, but save the money over
Oh
and
my God.
over by investing into the education so you can do it yourself. Kind of like
I
the
love
old
that.
quote about like hand someone a fish, he eats for a day, give him a fishing pole, he eats forever. That
Uh-huh.
type of concept. So you giving that education piece. I mean, how much is your book right now? What is it running on Amazon?
Oh, yeah, on Amazon is 29.99, I believe.
That's a drop in the
It's,
like you'd
listen,
pay
for
that for a week.
2,500. Listen, I
Yeah.
paid 25 years and a bunch of books that I've read, invested in myself, plus seminars that are expensive. And it's peanuts, and it's everything is there. If you are a do it yourself type of person, right? I mean, there's people that really need more coaching. Like my client last night, I mean, she needed me to walk her through. I do that as well. But again, you don't really need, if you're a reader, if you really understand it and you're a do it yourself, I mean, just grab a book. I mean, you don't even have to grab mine. You can grab another one, is give me one second. I said it earlier. A Simple Path to Wealth. That was a really, really good book as well. And I encourage you to read several books. Don't just read one. Read several, because you're going to find the pattern. Okay, that's the thing. That's the key, because that's where you're like, wait a minute, that's it. You know what I mean? You're gonna find a pattern. And I love the fact that you mentioned education for the kids. So my daughter, I started her with a Roth IRA, and she was I think she was 17, and she whenever I talk about investment, she already knows. I even told her, I'm like, come here, let me practice with you on how I'm gonna, coach the ladies, or I'm gonna teach the ladies, or I'm gonna do this class. Just to make sure that if she understands it, then I know that other people are gonna be able to understand, right? She doesn't know anything about it. So I teach her, and I practice with her. I'm like, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, am I using the right analogies or right examples that kind of click? And you can use that analogy to kind of say, okay, what is the stock market? Okay, I'm gonna use this analogy to explain it, and then so she understands it. But those are the things that you got to do. It's help your kids to understand financial literacy. I started, actually, my daughter with a debit card from my bank, so I started her with that, and that's kind of like something you can encourage your kids, right? On how to be responsible with money. And you tell them, hey, listen, you're gonna have $50 in there. You can use it, but you can't go over the 50, because otherwise we're gonna get a fee, right? And it's not good. Like you have to pay to the bank. So I started her with that. And then, now she actually has my credit card and she's responsible. So I trust her.
Yes. I love financial literacy and I
I
love
do
it
too.
starting as early as possible because, especially working in a bank, I would see kids who are coming in either graduating college, getting their first job, or ready to buy a house or whatever, and having no knowledge. And they would be from all backgrounds, everything like that, but they would come in and just know nothing. And I'm like, what? I mean, my 7-year-old has a debit card. How do you not know? And I'm like, oh, because that's a language that I spoke to them. That
Yeah.
language wasn't necessarily spoken to me, so I had to learn it myself. But now that I know it, I can share it with kids.
Oh my
You
goodness.
know, my kids, nieces, nephews, whoever, you're exactly right. Like once it unlocks, there's different levels, of course. Some of it is
Yes.
that basic financial literacy. Like a debit card is not just a piece of magic plastic that you can run for whatever amount. Like, this is how much we have. This is, all of those things are not common knowledge. They should be common knowledge, but they're not common knowledge. They're not learning it in school. And once you
Mhm.
unlock that level, you can share that level and get them to that space too. With investing is exactly the same. Like once you unlock it, that's now a power that you can share with the world so that someone else does not go through the struggle to find that same information. I
Definitely.
think any topic, you're totally right that any topic is kind of the same way. Like you can get those aha moments like, oh, it's really not that hard. But I think investing is one of those top things that really, really gets overcomplicated. People are scared of it. When you talk
That
about the
they
bubbly,
do that
nice stuff, they're like, yeah, let me jump in. But
and
investing,
they
like,
do that on purpose. Yeah, yeah. The industry, I would say they do that on purpose because there are like over 10,000 mutual funds out there, right? I mean, I've done all the research, 9,000 change. And there's just mutual funds. There's so many freaking options. It's ridiculous. Like it's mind-boggling. And it pisses, excuse my French, but it pisses me off because I'm like, why are you guys confusing everyone? It's not that, you know what I mean? Like it's not that complicated. So I read a book, huge book, 600 page, Money Master Game by Tony Robbins, and it was like a fire hose of information. And I love him to pieces, right? But then that's one of the reasons why I said I'm going to create my book, because it was just too much information for beginners. It was just like so much information overload that it will discourage you. You're like, I don't know, forget it. You know what I mean? You're going to toss the book across the room. And it's not, again, it's not that complicated. You just got to make sure that you educate yourself, be patient with yourself, and know that, yeah, there are many options, but there's some that are a lot simpler.
yes, and I just think that it is for everyone. Like if you're the
It's
person
for
watching
everyone.
this right now who is terrified, it is for you. You can do it. Besides your book having the kind of do it yourself for those of us who are readers and want to just learn, at that pace. Tell us a little bit more about your coaching. Like does it go in baby steps? Is it more bite sized? Tell us a little about that.
So so it's eight sessions. From That's kind of like what I have deduced, right, from starting the coaching business. I already know by like the eighth session you're gonna understand it. Normally 3 sessions you're still like, what is that? So I have a process. I'll have you read a book, and it's not going to be mine. You're going to be, while we're working, you're going to be reading a book, because, and it's a small book too, it's not that big, so that you can vet that what I'm saying is correct, right? It's kind of like vetting me. So part of it is I also use music, I use affirmations, I use meditation, but I do start with a 3 step process, which is mindset, of course, because we already know that if your mindset is not right when it comes to money, you're going to self sabotage. You're going to use all your 401k monies, and you're going to use your Roth IRA because you need this. So it's like lottery winners, right? When they're not, okay, at the conscious level prepared to receive that abundance, to receive that much money, they blow it away in like 2 to 3 years. Research it. I think 3 to 6 years they blow out their money.
Yeah, I think it was like around 48 months that they were back
Yeah.
either where they started or
Of
lower because
course.
a lot of them just went in and quit their jobs and could not get the same level of job back. And I
Yeah.
personally know a couple. people that around like the 20 to 25 age mark got crazy inheritances. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wait a minute, like $20 million?
Like,
Like,
I'm ready for my
I,
inheritance. I'm like,
okay, like bring
the
me
first
the
thing I
money. Like,
said,
I'm good for
cutting
life
that
with
money
that.
in half, investing in half. Like, that's exactly what I would do. Like, boom, half straight to like investing. That's exactly what I would do. But that's where my mind is, right? That's my mind. Like, I can
Yes.
win $1 billion right now, and I will not blow that money out because I'm prepared at the conscious level, right? My
Yes.
subconscious is not gonna sabotage. Remember, every time you sabotage yourself is your subconscious. It's not up here. It's the subconscious.
Oh yes. And I definitely agree that when you put the years into it like that, like you expanded it slowly, you're educated in it, you're
Exactly.
comfortable with it. So I guarantee any amount of money I could drop on you be like, "Okay, here's the game plan." And not even freak out, not have that moment of like, "Oh, no." You're like, "Okay, this and this." You're
I know what I
calculated
need
in
to
it
do.
because you're so confident in it. That's an
Yeah.
expert space for you. What
Yeah.
about those people who do, blow up crazy
Oh
fast
my
on
goodness.
TikTok, YouTube, whatever? What do you think the first step would be besides I would have to say pause, like, don't go buy a Lambo today. Don't go with the impulse. But
Okay.
besides pause, what do you think they need to really, really focus in and do first?
Definitely. The first thing is you need to, like you said, pause, right? And then you definitely need some education before you do anything. What do I need to do? Like, ask yourself, okay, who do I need to hire, right? And you have to find someone that resonates with you and that you vet to make sure that what they're telling you is true. Now, they're not going to use your money and, get a lawyer, definitely lawyer. You have to get a financial advisor that I would say fiduciary. All right. I don't know if anyone heard the word fiduciary, but
I know.
you know what fiduciary is. They're usually like a financial advisor, but they are for your best interest. I'm a coach. I'm not a certified financial advisor. I coach. I'm under the umbrella of coaching, but I could get my financial stuff right. I could get certified, but I like coaching better than working for a company and doing the whole financial stuff through a company. I already have a daytime job.
Right. You don't need
So,
another. That makes
right.
perfect sense.
So
Plus the
so I'm
restrictions.
I'm based on experience, and also, I'm an author, so that's why I go under the coaching umbrella. But definitely get the education, and then take that money and divide it into different buckets, right? Buckets, you could do the debt bucket, the dream bucket, the savings bucket, the investings bucket. There's different buckets that you can divide that money into.
One other question that I always want to know, my mind goes to the youth because I feel like they really have just nothing. They're blank slates, so it's so easy to set them up so well. But what about the ones who are not in that small age category, they're in the bigger age category, and they either know nothing or know bad things that they need to unlearn? What advice
Whew.
would you give for that category?
Well, again, you're gonna have to go through my mindset. You're gonna have to go through my mindset and get to that point where the environment that you grew in usually is going to again sabotage you. When you hear, like, if you have example, right? I call them alligator friends. They're alligator because their hands are short, they're cheap, and they can't reach their pockets, right? Sometimes when you're around people like that, or people that are penny pinching, like, I love my mother, but she likes to really like penny pinch stuff. I
Yes.
mean, I'm full transparency. I love her to pieces, but sometimes she'll tell me, "No, save this, save that," and don't invest in yourself. So you wouldn't even buy a book to teach, to learn. You won't even buy a course to learn something because you're penny pinching to the quarter to the penny. I'm just telling you that I come from that, right? So you have to unlearn those habits where you're always saving, saving, or saving, saving more. We don't just gonna save. We can't invest in anything. So again, learning that, and then know that it's never too late. There's this thing called the rule of 72. You can research it, write it down, rule of 72, which practically is a fun formula that was created by, I don't remember the name of the gentleman, but Google it. And basically, it just takes the it'll give you like an idea of your money, how what when is it going to double based on your the interest, right, that you're getting on like an index, right, on index fund. So it usually takes like around 7 years for your money to double if you consistently invest in an average of 7%, which is what the stock market, the S&P 500 usually yields. So, just know that there are many tools, there are many avenues that you can invest in, and it's never too late.
I definitely love that. I do feel like there is hope regardless. What about the ones who do know that, okay, yeah, maybe I can do that. I can invest. But that baby step before the investing, in my mind at least, is the budgeting part. So, with mindset and with what your money is doing right now, how do you jump from paycheck to paycheck and have that discipline you were talking about to really make it work for you? What can you say on the mindset? Just is it about, hey, I deserve to invest in myself. I deserve this better future. Or what unlocked for you to be able to do that at a young age? To say, like, hey, I'm only making this, but I deserve this life.
Yeah. So that's a good question. And I have a really cheap course. It's like $25, I think. It's called Pay Yourself First. And basically it's just taking your money, right? Again, one I the last video that I posted on YouTube, I talked about you are a money generator. You make money, right? You make money, the money just sits there, right? You pay all your taxes, you pay everyone and their mom, everybody, but you don't pay yourself first. You just put it in a savings account, a checking account. It yields what, like a penny?
Point
I know
something.
because mine has pennies or 2 10 cents, like
Yeah.
penny, right? So why don't you pay yourself first? Like commit to paying yourself 10%, right? And then that 10%, I mean, I prefer you do 20. You know what I mean? I love myself. I want to do 20 because I love me. So 20% of my paycheck. And then divide that into either 401k if you get a match. If you don't get a match, then you a Roth. Like there's so many avenues. See, do a savings account that's high yielding, right? Ally has one. I use that one. Fidelity has some money markets that yield around 4.91%. Those are really good, actually. I like those. So pay yourself first and divide that money. Learn how to invite, and then, oh, wait a minute, I have this little extra one. I'll invest that, right? 25 a month. So it's got to take that. You got to sit down and plan it and take that discipline and know that, you have to pay yourself first because you deserve it.
I love that. And I also just love how it ties into wellness overall. I think any topic we pick, whether it's the health part or relationships, whatever it is, you
Hmm.
can't really do well in anything unless you are willing to take care of self
Oh my
first. And
God. Lastly, right? You mentioned it. The health part is important because if you feel like crap, you don't want to do anything for yourself.
yes,
So
that's so true.
go to the gym, work out. Like that's so important. And I attend another seminar. Just listen, I go to seminars a lot. Okay. So this past December, I used to always say success. My values are success, growth, things like that. But you know what? If my health is not optimum, I'm not going to be able to do these other things, right? I think like the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You're loving yourself through working out, eating right, taking care, self love, nervous system regulation, right?
Yes.
And
All of
then,
that. Because if you're in a dark room or a hospital bed, even if you have that 600 mil in your account, you really can't do anything with it. You're not
exactly,
going to be able to get out and enjoy life the way you want if that
exactly.
quality of care for yourself was lacking and didn't give you the things along the way. So, I
Hmm.
definitely think that is a huge part of the equation that we cannot skip on or miss because
Glad you mentioned that.
money's great. We want the money with the quality of life. We don't want the money
Listen,
instead of it. We want all
when
of
I
it.
got, yeah. So when I came back from the seminar, I had so much joint pain. It was because again, I'm an open book. The perimenopause is hidden me. So the joint pain was just too much. So one of my girlfriends was like, "You need to take care of that." So you know what? I said, "I am wealth and vitality. I am love. I'm coming hard and taking care of myself." So I joined that 90-day program and the program that we're in, and I've been showing up for myself, and I'm taking my vitamins. I had the doctor take care of everything, and I feel so amazing that I'm so ready right now for March, because I'm going to South Korea for my birthday, and then we're going to do a lot of walking. So I said, you know what, I'm going to make sure that I take care of this joint pain so I can walk and enjoy South Korea.
That is such a perfect, like, real-time example of planning ahead to succeed, and if you weren't doing those things, even if you took the same trip, you probably would not get the same experience as by setting yourself up to win. Financially, body-wise, all of it, we want that setup. So,
Mhm.
I love all the gems you have dropped. I'm sure that we will all be,
I would talk all day.
conversing more. We need the book, we need the info, so I'm so glad that you are not just, taking all of that and keeping it for yourself and your kids, but you're putting it out there for everyone else to grasp too. I think that is huge. So definitely thank you for doing that and for being willing to be vulnerable and pop on, especially last minute like this. Like
We
we're like,
just
okay, 5 minutes, like you good, let's go. So I
well, that
love
was a
that.
fun time, right, to hop on.
Yeah, like we're here, we did it, okay? But I mean, it's stuff that is important, it's stuff that needs to be talked about. So
So
if you're the expert.
I wanted to ask the viewers, what was a value today? What did you get of value? Like, what was something that kind of popped up for you? Let's see if we get anybody. Is Chrissy still on?
I don't know, maybe
Okay.
it's moved
Okay.
up and down a little bit.
That's fine.
Sometimes they take a minute to come through too, so it
Oh,
may.
that's right. Okay. So,
I think we might
but
have put your dog to sleep though. He's like, "Oh, more money
he's
talk. That's what mom is doing."
the importance of self care. Absolutely, absolutely. Because if you feel like poop, right? If you feel like trash, if you feel like um I'm not gonna lie, I've had the depression, I've had the anxiety that has was like bedridden type of anxiety, and this was after the pandemic. um I was questioning the purpose and the point of everything. So I said, what's the point of it all? What's the point of this house? What's the point of having money? What's the point? And this is why I practice meditation. I take care of myself. I make sure that, I love me first before I can pour into someone else's cup. I pour into mine. Right. So, and this is one of the main reasons why I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a book. I'm ready to share my life with the world. I used to. I was a little on the. I don't know how to explain it, but not selfish, but more like, you know what? I learned this. I'm not teaching anybody. Who cares, right? It was that negative attitude that I had, that I had to change, and I changed my mindset as well. Where I rather teach people, I rather share with the world, especially with my ladies, because I'm a lady first, I'm a woman first, right? And then to teach them to invest and share that information.
What
That's
you said just also spoke to feminine energy principles as well as scientific principles. There's a part of our brain that controls the will to live. And if we are disciplined, that part grows. If
what.
we are in negative energy in any kind of space, it starts shrinking and shrinking, and our will to live shrinks too. And we
Yeah.
don't have that enjoyment. But you just gave the perfect testament to when that starts growing back. You do want to share, you do want to live and connect and interact with
Yes.
other
Yes.
people. So you just like spoke a story that completely confirmed all of those principles out there that we now have access to, that hey, like what
Mhm.
is happening is not to say
If you
predestined, but it's part of the science. Like it's a
Oh my
normal
god.
human experience that you just rocked.
And if you don't take care of your mindset, your health, you're not going to enjoy your money, right? So always
Yeah.
staying in that space of gratitude, where you are, even if you, like, right now, I don't have like the house that I want, but I love my house, right? I love my house. And I thank God for my home. I thank God for my dogs that they're here and I have a backyard. And that's it. Like, even and right now, even if I didn't have that, if I was living in a mobile home, I didn't tell you the whole story. Okay, because I have stories after stories. But even before, real quick, before I had my house now, I did have a mobile home because I didn't have anywhere to live when I got out the service. So that's in my book, that story. And again, like I remain grateful for even living in a mobile home, right? So those are the things that you need to make sure that you also, like the viewers and everyone, just stay in that space of gratitude. That's the secret.
Oh yeah,
Gratitude
secret
matters.
sauce that I hear from all the people who are in good spaces. So you're just checking boxes, confirming things there too. Well, my battery is now at 3% because I did not prepare for this because
Okay.
I didn't know we were going. But honestly, like thank you so much for being vulnerable and willing to share this. I'm sure there is a wealth of stuff that I'm going to be coming to you for. So
Absolutely.
thank you
And
for
the book is on Amazon, so you just
yes.
type Max It Out, and it does have my former last name, but it's Brenda Hall. I'm Brenda Paz, but it's Brenda Hall. I had a name change recently, so I have some changes to make to the book, but it's called Max It Out on Amazon.
Yes, and we will get all of her links, all of her info in the live stuff so you can go find her and learn more, like not now, but right now, so that you can be that next success story. Get in on the
Yes,
coaching, the book, whatever manner works for you to max it out.
I
Well,
love it.
thank you again, love. I will see you soon. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, beautiful.